Welcome everyone to my podcast. I'm your host, Advocate Mukotedi. If you are here, it means you're joining us for our newest series, The Stretch. I need you to understand how we got here. We are halfway in our journey. Where did we begin? If you are finding us for the first time, it means you don't understand where this whole stretch came from. And I'd like to invite you to please go back to our previous episode. It will really enrich you in understanding how we got here. But let me quickly explain to us how we arrived here. In 2025, I heard the word enlarge. Now, I only understood in part what that word meant. And trust you me, I never experienced such a stretching. When I say stretching, I mean that experience or my 2025 required a version of me that did not exist. And I am so grateful that it did. The reason, maybe I should throw this in here, it's a beautiful segue, that the reason I'm fully convinced of a word for a year is that it gives you really a guiding map, so to speak. You might not understand all the countries that you're going to meet along the way, but at least you have a clue. Maybe let me not say map, let me say campus. It gives you a guiding campus in terms of where you are going. You might not have a clue about anything else, but at least you have an anchor. You're going somewhere, right? So that is why year in, year out, maybe I can actually even do a series of my previous words of the year, just for you to have a sense of the kind of words that the Lord gives me and how I get to interpret how I interpret them. Now that's a lot of digression. A lot of digression. But anyway, the stretch for me was the fact that God was asking me to go higher when I wanted nothing but that. And at the moment, I did not see that. I was experiencing all sorts of things. My team can tell you how every Monday stand-up meeting, I would go through But anyway, nonetheless, I realized that where are the books that talk about the stretch? I know many people talk about new me, new year, glow up, whatever, but nobody talks about the stretch, the resistance that you feel at the moment or at the point of exactly what you prayed for, at the moment or at the point of exactly what you've longed for all your life. You finished your degree, now you are on the other side. Now what? You have gotten the promotion. People are looking at you to lead them. Now what? Why are you feeling everything you're feeling? You have the room, you have the stage, but you're feeling resistance inside of you. How do you navigate that? That's what this series is about. I want to give us language. I want to give us tools for us to be able, in these moments when we feel everything I just mentioned, we know exactly what it is. Because I can tell you right now, King's Daughters, what many of us tend to do is that we focus on the next. We don't know what to do in between. So that is really what the series is about. So if you're here, welcome to the stretch. I hope you're stretching with us because I'm loving it. Thank you so much to everyone who has reached out, comments, said all the things. I love it. So, what are we talking about today? Today we're continuing with the second point, or let me call it the second revelation of what it looks like to become. The second point in terms of what to focus in our journey of becoming the next level. And what is that? So, that's basically the belief recalibration. Belief recalibration. I want to say something, right? These words might sound big. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you and I get out of this episode exactly what these words mean, how they look like, how they show up for us, and how to actually maneuver them in our stretch. So I'm saying that to say, don't worry about them, right? Just make a mental note. Belief recalibration. So recalibration is, what do I believe about myself, about God, and about what's possible? This is big. This is important for us because to the extent of what you believe is to the degree you will experience the thing God has promised you, right? Now, for me, let me tell you a story. This is actually in depth in what I referred to that I will be talking about in terms of the post-wilderness formation. But I want to bring in an element, an aspect here, because it will show you what I mean when I talk about belief, right? When I was remember we've got a working story that we are working with, the contract that your girl got, right? Now, the experience that I had was that internally, I was having conflicts, right? Not only were the contract related conflicts, but this was a mere spending experience where I was having warfare internally. And I'm going to say it's warfare because I could not understand, because I knew exactly what God had told me about this very act. Now, when I had to actually do it, inside of me there was war. And in the way that the Lord does things with me, which I really thank Him for, I got to start writing a book, because I got to understand that there is something about training the soul that has to be a reality for us if what we have in the spirit is to manifest. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm not losing you. And in me writing this book, I uncovered multiple things about what the mind does in terms of believing the things that the Lord has promised you, or not believing those things, right? And the conflict that went back and forth because the two things were not aligning. I had to pause for a moment and remember whose I am, right? I needed to remember what the Lord had spoken to me. Not so I override what was happening in my mind, but so that I can elevate my mind to align with the Spirit. So literally, I needed to have a new belief system regarding my spending, right? Because for the longest time, I had not been able to spend. Now I had the ability to spend, but I was being restricted from that. Why? Because my mind believed something completely different, right? So it is so important for us, King's Daughters, to truly understand what belief system are we operating in. Has it reached its sell-by date, for a lack of a better word, right? And what is belief recalibration about? I told you, I said, it is what do I believe about myself? What do I believe about God? What do I believe about what's possible? This is not surface thinking. And you can see from my story that it was deep internal reflection that were restricting me from moving forward, right? And this is deep formative work. And for me, I did not recognize that as an unbelief, though I initially did. But I later realized that there is a forming that is happening here that the Lord wants to do for me, and I will do well to lean in, right? And make sure that I absorb whatever it is that He gives me. But you may be wondering, but advocate, what really happens to beliefs in the stretch? Why is it that we are having this conversation? I will say to you, beliefs that once served you will stop serving you. Because you are in a new environment, you are having new experiences, you are moving into a next level. What got you here will never take you forward. And the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you will stop deferring to the old belief system to ask permission whether to move or not to move. And I have seen many people actually sabotage themselves with this very reason, because what they do is that they go to their mode of doing. I've always done it this way. I have always did this when this happens. And they don't understand that they have now leveled up, and what is required in their next level is not how they used to think. They need to have a belief recalibration. Old limitations begin to surface in the stretch, right? Fear-based assumptions. King's daughters, I will tell you, fear will grip you when you have to make a decision with your next, for your next. Because you cannot afford to be inquiring from your past about what you need to do in your future. And let me qualify that, because it might be misconstrued. What I mean by that is that you are moving into a realm where your old belief system has never been. So you cannot be using your old belief system for the new level that you are going in. So the beliefs that I formed in the wilderness, when they threaten to resurface here, I need to be very ruthless in terms of taking them and throwing them as far away as possible. Because if I don't do that, I will self-sabotage. We have heard of many people, King's daughters, who have won lotto money, who just came up on money, but because their belief system is still stuck on how they used to spend, they want to bring that belief system into the new version of themselves, and that cannot work, because trust you me, you will revert back to sender if you do that. It is so important that your beliefs are updated to your current experiences and to your current lived experiences. The truth is, the stretch doesn't create these beliefs. What it does is that it reveals them. So, let's take my story for example. The revelation that I got was that the fear of spending, it is because of everything that I went through, which I will share with you guys in the long run. But because of what I went through, now, because I had come to a different version of myself, I needed to upgrade myself. But I didn't. Right? So it visited me. It said, hello, do we still believe the same way? Do we still think the same way? And at that moment, there's a lot that happens in the moment. It feels very heavy. I won't lie to you. It can be very confusing. It feels confrontational almost. And it almost feels like you are regressing. But one thing that God kept on saying to me was that I am merely revealing what's inside of you so that I can heal you for the next. So the experience that I got, it wasn't to paralyze me or to shame me. It was so that something in my heart will rise up and the Lord would say, aha, this is not gonna serve you here. Maybe it served you in your previous season, but it will not work here. And that, King's daughters, I have come to understand that the thing about internal work is that it is not seen work. It is not celebrated work because it's not out there. It is the work that you need to do between you and God as you tackle every obstacle in front of you. It is important that you do, because if you don't, you will meet it again along the way. Or, God forbid, not you meet it, but your kids will have to deal with it because you did not overcome what you needed to overcome. So belief recalibration is really critical for our legacy, for us moving to the next level. The Lord needs us to update our belief system so that He can upgrade us, right? The mandate for the stretch is very clear. You need to press outdated beliefs to the surface. That's it. Because you cannot carry on beliefs that belong to a former season. I don't know about you. Maybe this is a good moment for you to reflect. What belief system are holding you back? What is it that you are so tied to that you don't even realize, King's daughter, that it's actually holding you from moving forward because it's so ingrained in who you are? These questions are not really to shame you, but it's to make you reflective in terms of what could be happening for you inside of you that could be stalling your next level movement. Remember, what we are addressing here is basically what happens when you're supposed to move to the next level and all hell breaks loose. Why do you find resistance? Why do you find that you've got self-doubt, anxiety, and so forth? And these are the things that we never talk about. And if we don't talk about them, and if we don't put language to them, they will continuously rule us, right? And we do not know why we're not progressing. You could have started with someone on the same level. They progress 10 steps ahead, and you wonder to yourself, but we have the same opportunities, but I'm not moving as they're moving. And this is where I want to challenge us. It's the internal work. It's the internal reordering that needs to happen. They probably did it, or they did not need to do it because they believed differently. Do you understand what I mean? So you need to understand yourself to understand what could be tripping you up, right? So that you don't find yourself sabotaging your own advancement in the name of I'm cautious, in the name of I've done this before, therefore. So many people actually kill their destinies with that one line. No, I'm not going there, I've done it. And the Lord is like, hey, you've got to go down here, right? Because remember, the children of Israel had 7 days to get to Canaan. 7 days. But guess what? Though they were out of Egypt, Egypt was not out of them. And the Lord had to make them go around for 40 years so that Egypt can come out of them. So many of us lose this opportunity to be able to move from deliverance to possession because we don't do the work that is unseen. Anyway, let me not belabor that point. All I'm saying is that the stretch is mercy for most of us. Because I would never have known what was hiding deep in my heart during the season I was wrestling with whatever I was wrestling. But by the mercies of God, He put me in a situation and in an experience that forced whatever was lying dormant in my heart to come up. I could have pushed it away. I could have said, it's nothing. I could have said, we'll try again, or whatever the case is. But because I understood where I was in my season, I was very ruthless about it. I said, I'm coming for all of you because you are not going to steal from me what the Lord has given me. Because if the Lord says you have abundance, a mindset that says there's less is warring against God, and you will not move into the realm and the spaces that the Lord wants you to move. I hope you're hearing me, King's daughter. I hope you're hearing me. Now, why should this belief recalibration come before doing? Remember, we're answering the question, the answer, or the statement that says, you've got to be before you do. Many people do before they be, and that's why they go through a lot of things. In our second episode, we went through the very things that they go through or they manifest because they're doing before they become, right? Now, why is it is the question I'm asking us at this point, that the Lord introduces the belief recalibration before the doing. This is the fact. If beliefs remain small, we will sabotage any opportunity God gives us. Guys, I know this for a fact. If we do not update and upgrade our belief system, we will never experience most of the words that the Lord has given us. Do you know how many prophetic words many people are walking around with, but that they've never manifested? And they think all of that is dependent on God. Oh no, I'm waiting on the Lord. Oh, I'm waiting on the Lord. He's going to... No, child of God. It is the internal work that needs to happen first before those words can manifest. The Lord can tell you at 13 years old, and everyone hears, this is going to be a king. And you can die not becoming a king. Why? Because the Lord cannot force himself on you. Some of the work is dependent on you, and that's the internal work. I just remembered now, Romans 12, I think it's 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, says, you've got to renew, I'm paraphrasing, you've got to renew your mind so that, there's a reason for the renewal, is so that you are able to test what is the good, perfect and acceptable will of God. Right? Many people, because they don't renew their minds, they are always asking, what is the will of God for me? What am I supposed to do? Guess where the gap is? The gap is in the renewal. They did not transform their minds as the word instructs us to. I believe that I am an architect of restoration. And the reason that I am that is that many people truly love God with all their hearts, but they never experience anything that God is telling them about themselves. And they wonder why. The secret lies in the transformation. But let me leave that alone. Let me continue with why should the belief recalibration happen before doing, right? We said, if your belief remains small, you will sabotage your opportunities. You will resist growth. Oh, this breaks my heart, because I have seen people with so much potential. They are told by everyone and anyone that they've got so much potential, but they never manifest their potential. Why? They resist growth subconsciously because their belief system is so stuck in 1979 that why is it 1979? In 19 something, that they are, maybe let's say 1800, that their version of themselves stopped growing at that point. They don't understand that they need to upgrade, recalibrate their belief system. I hope you're hearing me. I am just thinking right now of an unemployed graduate sitting at home, listening to me and saying, but advocate, I have a degree, I have this and I have this, but I don't have a job. You don't have an unemployment problem. You have a belief problem. And you need to recalibrate your belief so that in 2025 you are able to tap into all the opportunities that exist in as far as who you are. I'm going to digress here, because this is the work that I do for unemployed graduates, to be able to help them to see their qualification as more than just a qualification, to be able to reinvent their qualification so that they can make anything of it, right? And we have a framework that we utilize for that, and it's a grow framework. And this growth framework speaks to gathering the assets that you've got, the resources that you've got. What is your personality? What is your strengths? What are your talents? Who is in your network that can be able to help you in your next, right? Because many of us don't even know why we tick the way we tick, right? We just have degrees and that's all. We don't even know why we are wired the way that we are wired. Self-awareness becomes key in your recalibration, right? But that's the first entry into the journey. The second layer then says, reimagine, right? Reimagine your degree. Reimagine your environment. Reimagine your resources as different from what you have known to be, right? So we help you understand. And that reimagining, King's Daughters, I can tell you right now, that's a mindset shift work. That is an internal work that you've got to do, because we can show you as much opportunities as available, but because you don't see them the way that you need to see them, you never seize them, and unfortunately you lose them, right? And then you optimize and then we grow. I'm not about that today. Let me come back to what I was saying. Many of us, we resist growth because our belief system, and this could have been me last year, because I could have sat there and said, Lord, no, I don't want train the trainer. Lord, I don't want it. I'm happy with female foundry. That's okay for me. And God just said, He made me uncomfortable from being comfortable. And He told me in no uncertain terms, I need you to step away so that I can give you more. And I think also this is one thing that we don't talk about in terms of expansion. At which point does an entrepreneur feel the need to expand? Because if I have done this by myself for the donkey years, getting someone else into the business to do some of the things becomes hard, because I wear it as a badge that, oh, it's been me. But guess what? That mindset is stifling growth. Scaling says you've got to delegate everything that doesn't need your strategic brain for you to move, right? So many people are stuck in these places, in these spaces, without understanding, why is it that I'm not growing? It's the mindset, it's the belief that needs to be recalibrated, because growth will not happen in your previous mind. Let me go on ahead. You interpret expansion as danger. Hello, I know this because all of you thinks, but what's going to happen when I bring something new? When I bring someone new, what's going to happen when this? What's going to happen when this? Trust you me. All these things, I know them very well. They're hitting very close home. But I thank the Lord that He allowed me to do business with Him. So when He says it's time to enlarge, it's time to get a team, it's time to do whatever, though I ask 20 questions, I ask 20 questions moving, because otherwise I would stay a one-man show until Christ comes home and I still call myself an entrepreneur, a business person, and. But everything is in your head. There are no systems. There's nobody to help you. Anyway, I am getting so interrupted with this one. I don't know what's happening with this episode, but I think it's between me and the entrepreneurs, because I know the pain. I understand it. I am called to them, right? I am called to assist them to put systems in place so that they expand. It's the business that we do, right? We grow people, we grow businesses on the very essence of understanding that alone, you can only do it so much. I give you a year, I give you 3 years. But beyond that, you've got to fight yourself to expand. Whatever that looks like, right? And for us, the way we partner with you, we bring you an intern. How you utilize that intern is to the degree of your growth and mindset that has shifted. But if it hasn't shifted, you won't be able to utilize that intern. They will remain there because you also don't know what you're doing, because you're coming in and out and you're just doing, I don't know what. But anyway, let's stop right there. But because your belief system cannot yet hold the weight, right? So that's really what happens for us, why the Lord has to stretch us. Because if our belief system does not stretch to the degree of our lived experience, then we've got a problem, right? Can I then suggest something? Then we've got to ask, okay, now that you said all of that, how then do I recalibrate? Oh, you shouldn't have asked me, because I'm gonna tell you all about it, right? Because capacity often grows faster than belief. I know that many people, God may trust them before you trust yourself. And that's what you need to leech on. The fact that He says, move there, buy that, do that. You might not, in your human mind, think that that's the right move, or think you are even able to. But because He's God, lean on that. Don't lean on your wisdom. Don't lean on your understanding. Lean on the fact that if the God of the universe says, Miliswa, get a team there, and you get out. In your head, how it's going to work out, I wouldn't tell you. But He knows. And if it does fall flat, oops, we learn and we grow and we move. Because if you don't move because of fear of failure, oh, guess what? You just got double jeopardy. It's not only your belief system that's stuck in the donkey's ears. Now you've got fear in the mix. So when you just need the Holy Spirit in jail, Anyway, for me, I believe that the stretch is where belief is updated to catch up with your capacity. When He said to me, Miliswa, roll out, train the trainer, He knew I had the capacity to do that, though I did not believe that I did. It scared me. I'm like, no. He's like, yep, yes. In fact, they will tell you, the first cohort that just completed, that I even gave I don't know if you know what a fleece is. A fleece is, remember, what's his name now again? The guy who fleeced God, man. Gabriel, Goliath, I don't believe I forgot him, but anyway, man of valor. He told him he's a man of valor. Please correct me in the notes there. I don't remember for the life of me. But what happened to him was that God said, "Oh, mighty man of valor, go on, do X, Y, and Z." He's like, no, God, if it's you, please make sure that it rains here. So it rained, right? And then he's like, tomorrow. He's like, no, tomorrow, please make sure it rains just on the sponge. Like, he was just fleecing God so much, and God entertained him until he believed. I'm not saying that's what God will do for all of us, but all I'm saying is that if you get to that point, you've got to believe that God understands things that are bigger. He called him man of valor. So God knew he had the capacity, right? But he did not think he had the capacity. So I don't know how people do life without God, but for me, I'm just saying, give me God any day. If he tells me left, I'll go left, because he controls the universe. He is holding my breath right now as I speak. Who do I think I know more than he does? But anyway, capacity grows faster than any belief, I said. And the stretch is where belief is recalibrated. Now, your cooperation is required. Remember, we're answering, how do we do this? Now that we know that there's a belief deficit somewhere, right, that needs to be recalibrated, You need to be committed to upgrading your belief every day. What you believed yesterday about how far you could go, how much God can do, today you need to question it and say, yes, I know yesterday God gave me 10 rands. Won't He give me 1,000 rands today? Won't He give me? Because that is exactly a growth mindset. That's what happens to a growth mindset. A mindset that is stuck says, I did that last year and it didn't work, and therefore, like that person is really stuck in 1950 and there's no way to move him unless he decides he's going to change the way that she's going to change the way that she thinks, right? The work is not accidental, colleagues. I'm saying colleagues. King's daughters, you are colleagues, right? It's not accidental. You've got to do the work. You've got to be intentional. You've got to stop resisting the stretch. You've got to be aware of what accelerates alignment. Many of us don't know. Like, we don't know whether we are misaligned or aligned or whatever is happening with God. We just doing. And then only when it hits you, like, oh, God is good. And then tomorrow, oh, oops, it means it was. So my thing is that get together with God and agree of your direction. Get your alignment from Him. Yes, the news will say this. Yes, the economists will say this. That's what they say. Get alone with God and settle it with Him, right? So we're coming to the end of it, right? I want to land it this way. I want to really invite you into a self-reflection. That's what, anyway, these episodes have been about. They haven't been about any performance, any work, it's just truly a reflective series for us to look. Where are our blind spots? What beliefs are threatening you right now? What feels safe? What feels unsafe about expansion if you need to expand? What old thinking do you keep revisiting? If blind spots remain unseen, the next level will remain invisible too. You will always be that girl who had a potential. Like, whatever we saw her, she had a potential. But unfortunately, you will never progress. I won't lie to you, King's daughter. It takes courage to advance. It takes courage to sit in front of a camera and speak your heart out, hoping that somebody will hear it and listen to it. You've got to be foolish for you to believe that, because if you're too clever for yourself, you will never do most of the things. You've got to be able to be courageous to move, right? So, this is what I'm saying. I hope that your belief will be recalibrated. I hope that you will be committed to questioning your belief system all the time. Why do you believe this? Is this the best there can be? Are you sure this is the only way there is to this? Right? And God forbid that you don't have anyone surrounding you who will challenge the way that you think. Because many of us, in fact, close ourselves out from people so that they don't get to ask you anything, right? But I will challenge you. Expose your life. Put it out there. Let a mentor critique your life. Let them look at it and ask you, why this decision? Why not that? And why not that? Because growth only comes when there's discomfort. I'm telling you now, please be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that is the only way you will grow. Anyway, I love sharing this journey with you. I hope you enjoy the ride with me, and I hope that you're learning in this ride. I will see you in the next video. Bye.